One of the lessons I continue to learn and practice is that the universe responds with the same energy that we send out. If you attract a lot of people who wish to take advantage of you, you need to consider what you're doing to attract victimizers into your life. If you run into anger a lot, explore the angry thoughts you have inside of you. If your consciousness is a gimme, gimme, gimme energy, you'll attract all manner of demanding energies into your life. You know if this is true by the number of deadlines not being met, or demanding bosses or customers you encounter, and the feeling of being a victim. Send out gimme, gimme, gimme energy to the universe, and it will do the very same to you in return. If what you give is self-respect and self-love, the universe, via the attractor energy, will return the love and respect you've been radiating. It's really so simple. You can't give away what you don't have. The irony of giving, if you wanted to give a dozen oranges to your neighbor as an expression of love, you obviously would need to be in possession of 12 oranges. If you intended to purchase a new automobile for your parents to show your gratitude to them for putting you through medical school, naturally you'd need to have the funds to do so. Likewise, you can't give love away to others if you don't have any for yourself. You can't show respect for others if you lack self-respect, and you can't give happiness away if you feel unhappy. And of course, the reverse is true. You can only give away what you do have, and all that you're giving away each and every day are items from your own personal inventory. If you give away hatred, it's because you've stored up hatred inside of you to give it away. If you give away misery, it's because you have a ready supply available from which to select and to distribute. This concept is simplified by a description of squeezing an orange. When you squeeze an orange, you'll always get orange juice to come out. This is true regardless of who does the squeezing, what time of day you squeeze, what instrument you use to squeeze, or what circumstances surround the orange squeezing. What comes out is what's inside. The same logic applies to you. When someone squeezes you in some way that puts pressure on you or says something unflattering or critical, and out of you comes anger and hatred and bitterness and tension, depression or anxiety, it's because that's what's inside. The irony is that you can't give away what you don't have because you're always giving away what you do have. If you want to move into the realm of purpose by giving and serving others, ask yourself, what do I have inside, and why have I chosen to store these kinds of energies in me to give away to others? Finding your purpose, you most likely yearn to know what your purpose is. How can I find my purpose is the question I'm asking most often. The questioner often elaborates on his or her dilemma by saying, I would be happier if I could be on purpose, but I just don't know what my purpose is in life. My response is that you come into this world with absolutely nothing. You will leave this physical world with exactly the same. All of your acquisitions and achievements can't go with you. Therefore, the only thing you can do with your life is give it away. You'll find yourself feeling purposeful if you can find a way to always be in the service of others. Purpose is about serving. It's about taking the focus off of you and your self-interests and serving others in some way. You build because you love to build, but you build to make others happy. You design because your heart directs you to, but those designs are in the service of others. You write because you love to express yourself in words, but those words will help and inspire readers. If you don't yet know what your purpose is, you'll continue to seek it throughout the various stages of your life. There are many different models that describe the stages of life. Here I'm using the 4 archetypal stages of athlete, warrior, statesman, and spirit to briefly show what your purpose is in each stage. In the athlete archetype, the focus is exclusively on the physical body and how it looks and performs. The warrior archetype wants to compete, defeat, and collect the rewards. The statesman archetype emphasizes fulfilling the desires of others by asking, how may I serve? At the final stage, and the highest that we know, is the archetype of spirit. At this stage, you realize what is meant by being in this world, but not of this world. The spirit part of you knows that neither the body nor this world is its exclusive domicile. This spirit archetype invites you to minimize your material world concerns and to put more of your energy into the essence of life, which is love and service. As you progress through these 4 archetypes, you'll find yourself thinking less and less of your own self-interest and more about how you can make the world a better place for all. In this way, you discover a great truth. The more you chase after your own goals and pursue your self-interest, the more these aims will elude you. But when you turn your thoughts and then your activities, regardless of what they are, to serving others, those things that you used to chase after will begin to follow you wherever you go. When you get yourself out of the picture completely, the forces of the universe will seem to conspire to provide all that you previously sought for yourself. And then, because you're not attached to them any longer, they'll flow in and out of your life freely. In essence, I'm urging you to stop taking your life so personally. You can end any and all suffering by reminding yourself that nothing in the universe is personal. Of course, you've been taught to take life very personally, but this is an illusion. Tame your ego and absolutely free yourself from ever taking anything personally. Keep these thoughts in mind, particularly when you feel lost or unsure of your purpose. My purpose is about giving. I'll direct my thoughts off of me and spend the next few hours looking for a way to be of service to anyone or any creature on our endangered planet. This will bring you back to a realization that it doesn't matter what you do as long as you're able to give. In order to fully give and be of service and ultimately feel purposeful, you must be able to say yes. You ask yourself, do I really possess what it is that I wish to give away? The 4th secret, embrace silence. Here's a quote from John Stuart Mill. Solitude, in the sense of being often alone, is essential to any depth of meditation or character, and solitude in the presence of natural beauty and grandeur is the cradle of thought and aspirations, which are not only good for the individual, but which society could ill do without. And the man who founded Alcoholics Anonymous, Bill W., said, "Perhaps one of the greatest rewards of meditation and prayer is the sense of belonging that comes to us. Embrace silence. You live in a noisy world, constantly bombarded with loud music, sirens, construction equipment, jet airplanes, rumbling trucks, leaf blowers, lawn mowers, and tree cutters. These human-made unnatural sounds invade your senses and keep silence at bay." In fact, you've been raised in a culture that not only shuns silence but is terrified of it. The car radio must always be on, and any pause in conversation is a moment of embarrassment that most people quickly fill with chatter. For many, being alone is a nightmare, and being alone in silence is pure torture. The famous scientist Blaise Pascal once observed, "All man's miseries derive from not being able to sit quietly in a room alone." The value of silence. There's a momentary silence in the space between your thoughts that you can become aware of with practice. In this silent space, you'll find the peace that you crave in your daily life. You'll never know that peace if you have no spaces between your thoughts. The average person is said to have 60,000 separate thoughts every day. With so many thoughts, there are almost no gaps. If you could reduce that number by half, you would open up an entire world of possibilities for yourself. For it is when you merge into the silence and become one with it, that you reconnect to your source and know the peacefulness that some call God. "Be still and know that I am God" says it so beautifully in the Psalms of the Old Testament. The key words are still and know. Be still actually means silence. Mother Teresa described silence and its relationship to God by saying, "God is the friend of silence. See how nature, trees, grass grow in silence. See the stars, the moon and the sun, how they move in silence. We need silence to be able to touch souls. This includes your soul. It's really the space between the notes that makes the music you enjoy so much. Without the spaces, all you would have is one continuous noisy note. Everything that's created comes out of silence. Your thoughts emerge from the nothingness of silence. Your words come out of this void. Your very essence emerged from emptiness. Those who will supersede us are waiting in the vast void. All creativity requires some stillness. Your sense of inner peace depends on spending some of your life energy in silence to recharge your battery and remove tension and anxiety and reacquaint you with the joy of knowing God and feel closer to all of humanity. Silence reduces fatigue and allows you to experience your own creative juice. The second word in the Old Testament observation is know. Know, K-N-O-W, refers to making your personal and conscious contact with God. To know God is to banish doubt and become independent of others' definitions and descriptions of God. Instead, you have your own personal knowing. And as Melville reminded us so poignantly, God's one and only voice is silence. Accessing more silence in your life, I urge you to demand more and more time for silence in your life. One of the most effective ways to bring this about is to make meditation a daily practice. And remember, there's no such thing as a bad meditation. Give yourself time to sit quietly alone. At first, your thoughts will take off, trying to convince you that this is a waste of time, that you should be out there being productive, and that you've got so many other things to do. Hundreds of other unrelated thoughts will pop up in and out of your mind. But you can weather this thunderstorm of mental protestations by sitting quietly and becoming the observer to all of this inner chatter. Eventually, you'll be able to move to the gaps between your thoughts and notice how peaceful you felt in that silent gap when you emerge from it. Try it right now. Use the Lord's Prayer. Concentrate on the word "our" and then "Father." Try to go into the gap between the two words "our" and "Father." And do it again with "who" and "art" and "in" and "heaven." Just slip momentarily into the gap and notice how peaceful and exquisite you feel in that gap. I teach a meditation which I describe in detail and guide you through with my voice in a CD cassette called Meditations for Manifesting. This meditation uses the sound of "ah" as a mantra to keep your thoughts from wandering during the morning meditation. And this mantra sound is in virtually all names of the divine. Listen for it, for example, in God, Yahweh, Allah, Krishna, Jehovah. By repeating this mantra sound, you make conscious contact with God. The evening meditation uses the sound of Om, the sound of gratitude for all that is manifested in your life. Repeating the sound of Ah in the morning and Om in the evening for approximately 20 minutes creates an opportunity for you to experience inner peace and success in a way you may never have known before. I talk about this even more completely in a book called Getting in the Gap, Making Conscious Contact with God Through Meditation, and it's available through Hay House. There are many opportunities to access silence. I try to meditate each time I stop at a red light. With the car stopped and my body inactive, frequently the only things still moving are the thoughts in my mind. I use those 2 minutes or so at the stoplight to bring my mind into harmony with my inner car and body. I get a wonderful bonus of silence. I probably stop at a red light 20 or 30 times in a day, creating 40 minutes to an hour of silence. And there's always someone behind me to let me know when my time is up by breaking the silence with a honking horn. Meditation not only affects you, it impacts everyone around you. When you're at peace, you radiate a different kind of energy than when you're stressed or depressed. The more peaceful you become, the easier you can deflect the negative energies of those you encounter. This is like having an invisible shield around you that nothing can penetrate unless it's at a higher spiritual energy than your shield. A hostile current is greeted with a smile and an inner knowing that this is not your stuff. A person who attempts to bring you into their misery cannot succeed without your agreement. Your meditation practice keeps you immune. Not only can you deflect the negativity of those around you, but your sense of peace will bring others into harmony with you. Studies have been done to measure the serotonin levels of those in the vicinity of a large group of meditators. Now, serotonin is a neurotransmitter in your brain that indicates how peaceful and harmonious you feel. Amazingly, just being in the energy field of those who meditate raises the serotonin levels of the observers. These implications are startling. The more you achieve peacefulness through meditation, the more your peaceful state impacts those around you. I find that my meditating not only calms me, but it has a soothing effect on my family and those around me. But the primary benefit is that after a meditation, I find it almost impossible to be annoyed or negatively impacted by anything. Meditation seems to bring me into contact with a source of soothing energy that makes me feel deeply connected to God, making conscious contact with God. Most organized religions have taken on the task of explaining God to their congregations, including all of the rules that God supposedly has laid out for humankind. You cannot come to know God through the experience or testimony of others. This must be done by you. I urge you to meditate because it will bring you more peace, remove stress, improve your surroundings, and deflect negativity. All of this and more will definitely show up when you meditate regularly. I include the embracing of silence as one of my top 10 secrets for inner peace and success, primarily because it's the only vehicle I know of for making conscious contact with God. God is that which is indivisible. There's only one omnipresent presence called God. This presence is everywhere and is a force that creates and sustains life. It can never be divided or cut up into pieces. It's only one power in the universe, not two. Everything in your experience as a human being appears to be in duality. However, up exists because of its opposite down. Light exists because of dark. Right exists because of wrong. You've never seen a person with a front who doesn't have a back, an outside without an inside, a North Pole, or a magnet without a South Pole. Our physical world is a world of dichotomies and combinations of opposites, always divisible. Silence, however, is the one experience you can have that's indivisible. You cut silence in half, and all you get is more silence. There's only one silence. Therefore, silence is your one way to experience the oneness and the indivisibility of God. This is why you want to meditate. This is how you know God rather than having to settle for knowing about God. You will find your answers in the silence. Remember, it's out of the void, the emptiness, that everything is created. When you write a musical note, the silence from which it comes is just as much a part of the note as is the sound. So it is with healing anything or any relationship. Going into the quiet and listening will inspire you. I can't imagine speaking or writing without first going to God in silence. I seek alone time and space to allow my inspiration to emerge. The wilderness is therapy. Any time in your life when you're feeling out of sorts in any way, go to nature and find your peace. Sending troubled teens to the wilderness to care for animals and commune with nature almost always brings them peace and serenity. The state of your life is nothing more than a reflection of the state of your mind. If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. No matter what circumstances have shown up in your life, the quality of your life will always and only be a reflection of your state of mind. In other words, how you feel about your life is your life. That is the very reason we have people who have nothing materially speaking who are miserable and others who live in a consistent, beautiful state. The same reason we have people who seemingly have it all, the money, the cars, the wealth, but are depressed, and others who have it all and feel blessed. How you feel is your life. You can be happy with little or miserable with a lot. You can feel like you have a lot with a little and feel like you have nothing with a lot. Spending time every day in gratitude can shift your entire life. Spending time deliberately thinking about all the things that are good in your life will not only make you feel better about your life, which is the only important thing, but it will also start attracting more better things into your life. You could call this the law of attraction, but it is really just you noticing the good around you more. Try it. There is literally nothing more important than you giving this gift to yourself. What could be more important than feeling good? I cannot always control what goes on outside, but I can always control what goes on inside. As a human being, you can guarantee one thing for sure. Life will serve you up a great variety of highs and lows. Even though we are all guaranteed highs and lows, very few of us realize that we have the power to control what those highs and lows mean to us. We cannot control the circumstances and events of our lives, but we can always control our response to them. We can always control how we choose to feel about the circumstances and events. That doesn't mean it will be easy. It doesn't mean we won't have to take action sometimes. Action will be needed to better a negative situation, but we need not carry negative energy about the situation. The clearer our minds in challenging situations, the better our response. Next time you are faced with a challenge, see if you can gain more control of your feelings in order to handle the situation in the best possible way. Our lives are a sum total of the choices we have made. With everything that has happened to you, you can either feel sorry for yourself or treat what has happened as a gift. Everything is either an opportunity to grow or an obstacle to keep you from growing. You get to choose, be miserable or motivate yourself. Whatever has to be done, it's always your choice. You are not stuck where you are unless you decide to be. The results of people's lives are rarely ever an accident or a mistake. Almost always, regardless of the circumstances, it is less about luck and more about the choices people have made. Your responses, actions, and choices have led you where you are today. That might be hard to hear, especially if you feel you've been dealt a bad hand. But no matter where you are now, you can choose to be in a better position in the future. You can choose to make excuses, and you might have some great ones. Or you can choose to drop all the negative stories and focus on what you can do to make your situation better. Regardless of what has happened in the past, you decide what happens next. Holding on to negative feelings towards circumstances and people that have done you wrong does nothing to benefit your life. They say the best revenge is massive success, but really it is not. There is no need for revenge. And the best thing you can do is let go of negativity and focus on creating the best life possible for yourself. That is how you win. Stop acting as if life is a rehearsal. Live this day as if it were your last. The past is over and gone. The future is not guaranteed. Go for it now. The future is promised to no one. Too many people put the really important things in their life off for another day. We work too much and play too little. We spend too much time worrying about what other people think about us and too little time being our true selves, living free from anyone's opinion. They say no one on their deathbed wished they'd worked more at the office, and I doubt they wish they'd worried more about what other people think of them. Whoever you want to be, however you want to live, whatever you want to do, whatever you need to say, do it all now before it is too late. Live with no regrets. Self-worth comes from one thing: thinking that you are worthy. You cannot be lonely if you like the person you're alone with. The essential lesson I've learned in life is to just be yourself. Treasure the magnificent being that you are, and recognize, first and foremost, you're not here as a human being only. You're a spiritual being having a human experience. When you're just like everybody else, you've nothing to offer other than your conformity. Be yourself. It's that simple, because you can't have a full life if you are not fully yourself. If you are hiding who you are, wearing masks to fit in with other people, always afraid to express your true self, well, you're not really living, are you? So many people are unhappy, feeling completely drained every day because it is exhausting pretending to be someone else all day, every day. You are unique, and because of that, you need to follow your own unique path. Do not be afraid to say what you feel and be who you are, because in the end, even though some people will fall away, those are all the wrong people. When you be yourself, the right people will be attracted to you, and they will stay. Our intention creates our reality. You'll see it when you believe it. The saying goes, I'll believe it when I see it, but the truth is, you will never see it unless you first believe it. Have you ever seen a champion sports person who had no self-belief win anything? Have you ever seen a super successful person in any field of life achieve anything they did not believe would happen? The truth is, belief must come first. And when it does, you will start seeing that which you want in your life. How do you start believing it? First, you set the intention for what you want to show up in your life. Then you take whatever actions you need to take to make that thing your reality. Then you consistently keep improving in that area from all the action, learning, and new intentions you are setting. Then from all the improvements you are making, you start believing more and more. Greater intentions, greater beliefs mixed with action and learning create amazing results.